Last summer I went through a horrendous spell of scoring poorly out on the golf course, and this was all due to my tee shots with the driver. I was hitting them way off to the right and then were curving even further to the right, and then I came to the conclusion of this that it was all down to just the strike location, because I made one simple change in my setup that completely transformed my drives. I was going from big nearly 50-yard slices to hitting them 20 yards further, straight down the middle, time and time again. If not, that lovely little draw that we see the tall players do time and time again. So for those of you who are interested in improving your tee shots and getting this perfect strike location right every single time, then I'd seriously consider staying around to the very end of this video. And for those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Harry, PGA Golf Professional, transforming golfers worldwide from the golf projects and online via Skillist. So if you're down the road or on the other side of the world, I'm here to help you improve your game. So drop a comment down below of a tips or drills topic you'd like me to cover in a future video, and be sure to hit the subscribe button in that bottom right hand corner and switch the bell icon to all so you don't miss out on any of the latest and greatest content coming your way every Tuesday and Friday. So the one thing I'm going to start off with is to clarify something that we all know as golfers, is that the golf ball is always set up on a tee peg when we hit those driver shots, and it's usually set up on a tee peg just relatively around where the top edge of the driver head sits, right next to the middle of that golf ball. And this is of course to help us get that upward motion on the golf ball, promote more distance, better launch, better trajectory. But if we just take a look at this here, and I just place the driver head down like so, right next to the golf ball, and when I come to setting up, and I don't do anything different whatsoever than just lifting this driver head ever so slightly up, so that the middle of the driver face is in line with the golf ball, which is where it's going to be when we hit the golf ball in the first place, coming back down the downswing and through the impact zone. It causes us to place that heel end of the driver head right next to the golf ball. So I've not done anything different there apart from just lifting my arms, using my arms just to lift the club up a little bit to get the driver on the same height as the golf ball. And what that causes us to do is obviously promote those heel strikes. So we don't notice this in our swing, but because we've got the driver on a tee, we are going to be promoting something more heel strikes, depending on, of course, how we swing it. But I'm going to dive into that later on to see whether this is something that you should be taking on board, because as a rough estimate, I've put in the title 50% of golfers, and 50% of golfers should be looking into changing the way they set up the driver at the address position solely because of this reason. That's an estimate, remember. So for me, what I found was when I was playing on the golf course was that because I was getting this almost heel strike with the driver, I was promoting more of that sort of push out to the right and then massive curvature to the right as well. So that push slice in my golf game. And me as a player, I have always had this ever so slightly more steeper takeaway backswing move to then shallowing in the downswing, almost bringing it on the inside to outside, promoting that obviously draw bias club path. The driver head itself swinging very much so to the right of target. But what is that going to encourage? If I'm going to get the driver and I make a swing back, and obviously we're promoting this ever so slightly downward motion here, so we're promoting that in to out swing path, and the driver head begins to move away. The hands and arms are moving away because of this in to out swing path taking place. The opposite, the hands will move closer, the arms will move closer as well. But because we're promoting more this action, just naturally in my golf swing, what's going to happen? Where's the strike location more likely to be with the driver? Well, because the arms and hands are moving further away from us, then that's going to promote more of that heel strike. So as we mentioned at the beginning, we're finding that when we lift the driver head, we're more likely to promote that heel strike in the first place. But as well, for me, swinging very much so in to out, really encouraging my what we call swing direction, the direction of the club that's it's traveling is going way to the right. That's going to encourage even more heel strikes, which is why I didn't just notice that curvature taking place. I noticed them setting off too far to the right of my target and curving even more so in that direction. So for those of you who really do not struggle with this shallower sort of into out movement taking place in your golf swing, would like to control that a little bit more. You find that it's easy to control with the irons, you get that nice little draw taking place, but with the driver, for some daft reason, you can't get that to draw back. What I would suggest you doing is setting up to the driver and just moving that driver head ever so slightly closer to you. So you're bringing your hands and your arms ever so slightly closer to you like this here. So all we're doing here is we're promoting a toe strike. We're promoting a toe strike, and technically because of this, when we lift the driver head up now, it actually brings the driver to be right next to, the centre of that driver head to be right next to the golf ball there, to promote those centre strikes that we're after in the first place. And for the driver, I forgot to mention this earlier, when we hit those toe or heel strikes, mainly the heel strikes we're talking about in this video, but it will promote what we call the ball spin axis to tilt on a 90-degree angle. So imagine it like a plane. If you wanted to turn to the right in a plane, what does the plane do? It curves and bends in that direction like this. The wingspan turns like this here. And it's the same with a golf ball. So what will happen then is the golf ball will curve even more to the right or left depending on where the strike location is. If it's out the heel, obviously it's going to promote the ball to turn in this direction here. It's going to spin and go well off to the right. So for me, who's got that in to out path anyway, and hit it out here, it's see you later. Got no chance if that line there is my target line, have I? So what I would suggest you do if you find this in your golf game, and obviously you can check this in your swing, and by all means you can send it to me on Skillist for me to have a quick look for you just to confirm things, is that you can, when you set up, just bring that driver head ever so slightly close to you. And if you feel like you're going to get a little bit cramped doing this, that's absolutely fine. Just feel like you're going to stand a little bit further away from the golf ball and just allow that driver head to sit with the ball placed out of the toe side of the club. It's going to look really weird at first when it comes to hitting a few shots, but I would certainly recommend giving this a try. Now that I'm also collaborating with Golf Swing Systems, you can save yourself up to £1,000 or $1,000 on any of these fantastic launch monitors, being any of the TrackMan systems or the GC Quad systems from Foresight Golf. You can save yourself a whopping 5% by using this coupon code down below on any launch monitor, any training aid on their site. So make sure you go ahead and check out their website later on. But the question is, how do we know this works? How do we know this worked for my game, and how will you know if you swing very much so slightly into out that it's going to work in your game? Well, I'm going to be showing you some proof right now. So I've got two of these TrackMan numbers on the screen here, TrackMan data on the screen, and that camera on the right is going to show exactly where the driver is swinging through the impact zone, making contact with the golf ball, and also the driver on the right is going to show us exactly where the strike location was. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to simply, just for me, I'm not trying to purposely make any different swings, but I'm going to hit a few shots just with the driver set right up against the middle of that driver head. I'm not going to change anything in my swing. I'm just going to hit a couple of shots to begin with, just taking it back and forth and seeing where we notice that strike location go to. And what we should notice, because I'm very much so into out with the driver, we'll find there'll be more close to heel strikes as opposed to toe strikes, depending on how quick I can swing it. I'm still warming up, quite stiff here early in the morning, but let's give it a try. So first one, right out the middle of the driver head. Let's see where this goes. Oh, yeah. So there you go straight away. So just having a look at those two on the screen there, looking at the first off, the driver on the left. I don't know how easy it is for you to see on that screen, so I'll look into taking a couple of screenshots of this later on, but we can see where it's been hit with the impact location here, right out the bottom of the driver head, very much so on that heel side of the driver head. Me just swinging sort of into out as normal, not making any difference whatsoever to my swing there. I'm going to hit with a couple more. Let's see how that looks. You can see as well, if I was just to play that, you should be able to see it on the screen. You should be able to see on the screen there, slightly out the heel as opposed to the center of that driver head. So let's just have a look and see where that one went. Yeah, So there you go, you can see straight away that ball started off a little bit right of target and curved even further right. And having a look at my numbers here then, I'm just going to just take a couple of these off because we don't need to really know what the carry distance is just yet, the spin axis. The keys that we want to be looking at here are the club path and face angle. So the face angle there is actually closed to my club path. So my club path there was 2.5 degrees swinging to the right, so in to out. But the face angle was very square, so technically with a centre strike that should draw left of target, but because I've hit it quite far out the heel, just from going over what we've just been speaking about, we've just produced that shot outcome instead, which has gone too far to the right. I'm going to hit a couple more and see if we find the same result. So let's place that one back to strike location. I'll take those two numbers off at the bottom and see what we think. Yeah, it's a very similar outcome there. A little bit bottomy out the heel as well. And I'm setting that right up against the driver as well with the tee height so that the ball is right up against the top edge of the driver head. So that's giving me the same outcome there, slightly out the heel. Let's have a look at the video on the right again. Let me just make that a full screen so you can watch this a little bit more in detail. Yes, a little bit out the heel there, bottom side. Let's see the actual data there. Okay, so my club face angle then was slightly more close, so we should see the golf ball go fairly straight, I'm going to guess, but let's have a look. Okay, yes, a decent shot there. But with that face angle then being very much closed, I almost got away with that one from that setup for me, having that in to out pass. That club path there again, I'll just show you what on the screen now, 2.3 degrees in to out, but the face angle there of minus 2.6, okay, that's where the driver's 2.6 degrees closed to your target line. Think of your target line as 0 degrees dead. Well, that's a massive 4 degree difference. If that was a centre strike, we'd notice them go probably pretty far to the left. But because I've heeled it massively, it's actually helped me there. But if that club face is where it should be, where we want it to be, it's going to be that big slice again. Right, another shot, let's have a look. Good feel that one was pretty heely again. Face angle a little bit closed again. So face angle quite close, so that technically should have drawn, but it's faded because of that heel strike again. Club path slightly in to out, not as much as the previous two. Let's see what we think of the strike location. Okay, very much so out the heel. Did feel like a heel strike there. And there it is again, out the heel. We're noticing very similar results, no matter what happens if we hit the heel end of the driver. It's like what I mentioned before about the gear effect. It's causing that ball spin axis to tilt. And that's what gear effect is. It causes the ball spin axis to tilt when we hit those off-center strikes. So with it being very much so out the heel, it's always going to get that left to right curvature, unless we have the club face like that at impact, which obviously none of us want to do. It's going to cause a lot of inconsistency to our golf game. Why not instead just promote a more centered strike to gain that consistency back? So one more shot, just doing this, and then we're going to start hitting a few shots with me swinging as normal out the toe. So one more shot, just doing this, and let's see what we think. Yeah, just doesn't feel great at all. Felt like I really shut down the club face then. Yeah, still quite out the heel, bottom heely on that one. Club path was 1.3 into out, so still into out, but the face angle closed down quite a lot. So that could end up being a pretty good shot. Yeah, because the face angle was very much so closed. That should have technically gone very far to the left. I'm going to leave those two screens up actually, and I just want to hit one more and just see if I can get that club face angle to be fairly square at impact, just to show you the difference this has, because our aim is to get that club face pretty close to square. We don't want to see it as much as -4 degrees pointing to the left. That's like that, which isn't good when you're hitting drives 250 plus, even if you're less than that. So One final one. This is the final one, and then we're going to have a look at some shots out the toe. Yep, very much so out the heel there. Looking at the path, 2.2 degrees, so slightly more into out. Face angle, again, 3 degrees closed, so that direction, but it's still curved quite a lot left to right just because of that heel strike. So you can imagine on a good day when I'm making those swings, very much so slightly much into out and squaring up that face, we're going to see them balloon way off to the right. So it was no good. So when I looked at making this change, we saw a big difference, and that's what we're going to be looking at in just a sec. But before we dive into this, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit more about my brand new sponsorship to the channel, GX Golf. GX Golf, I've decided to partner up with them because of their high quality golf clubs for a fraction of the price. And if you're sick and tired of spending too much money on premium golf gloves that only last you a couple of rounds, then you should seriously consider checking out their website. I can leave a link in the description below, I will do, and you can use this discount code right here showing Harry10 to get another 10% off your entire order. I've been using GX Golf for the last couple of months and I've been really impressed with the product. I'm very happy to be partnering up with them and promoting their golf clubs on this channel because I believe that we want the best quality golf clubs when we're going out and playing on the golf course, and obviously helping you save money whilst doing so. So make sure you go and check them out after the video. So then, we're going to be having a look at a few shots, me hitting a few shots now with the ball set very much so out the toe end of the driver head. And we've seen very much so, you can see they've been very much so out the heel. We can confirm that it promotes that very much so left to right ball flight in the air. Let's have a look at a couple of shots now then, just placing the ball out the toe side of the driver head. Let's see what that does, the difference it does to the strike, but also the direction of the golf shot. So are we going to see less curvature, more curvature? Let's find out. So first one, setting up to the driver with the ball right next to the toe side of the driver head. So I'm just standing a little bit further away for this one just to give myself that little bit of leeway of bringing the arms and hands closer to me and getting this set up more out the toe. Okay, so that one then we can see set off a little bit to the right, but it actually drew back. And looking at my club path and face angle, club path was pretty much the same, but I actually blocked that one out to the right a little bit, 4.9 degrees. So that one there should have really gone a little bit further to the right. So that must have been a very much so toe strike. So yeah, that was a little bit too much of a toe strike for me. Let's see what we think of the strike location. Okay, so high toe, but we don't mind that. Having a look at the shot outcome on here. Let's have another hit and see what we think. Okay, so face a little bit closed on that one, I'm going to guess. Slight little draw on that one though, which was quite nice. Let's have a look at the strike location on that one. Okay, so a little bit out the bottom, but very much so out the middle of the driver head there. And we can see that's promoted a little bit of a draw for me, which is what I like, especially with the driver, which is good. Just close the face a little bit at impact. Let's see if I can get one very much so close to square and see the shot outcome. A couple of more doing this. Oh, that was nice. That felt really nice. Okay, so club path nearly neutral at 0.6, face angle minus 1.2. So let's have a look there and see what we think with that one. So impact location, a little bit out the bottom again, but it was on the toe side a touch. So ever so slightly out of the toe side, which is good. And we have a look at this here. That looks pretty close to square to me as well. Right then, let's see if I can just hit two more where we hit them right out the center, because that's when we're going to see the most difference in terms of obviously the shot outcome. We want to see more shots like that one there, of course. I just want to get one right out the middle just to prove a little bit more of my point here for those of you who do have that very much so in to out path like I do. That was nice. Yep, nice little draw there. Let's have a look at that one. So club path there, 1.3. Face angle was a tiny bit more pointing to the right of that being 1.9 degrees. But let's just have a look at that one there. Let's have a look. So impact slightly out the toe side. Having a look at the video, club delivery, yeah, a little bit more out the toe. But obviously if we hit that one very much so out the heel side of the club, that's definitely going to promote that very much so slicey ball flight that we noticed earlier on in the video. Right, one more to finish. That was nice, little draw there. Really nice shot to finish on. Let's have a look at that one. So club path actually that time, I really went for it with the shoulders on that one and turned through. So that actually reduced my club path by a couple of degrees, being 0.9. Face angle of 0.3. So produce a little bit of a draw there, which is nice. Let's have a look at the impact location. So pretty much bang out of the middle, maybe a little bit low and a tiny bit toey, being picky. And having a look at that there, the driver has been hit out the middle, if not ever so slightly out the toe side, me being picky there, just having a look at that video on the screen there. So we've talked a lot about how the strike really does affect the overall direction of our golf shots. For those of us that have been really suffering quite a lot recently with those strikes being very much so out the heel end of the driver, we noticed those outcomes taking place. Even if the driver is nice and square address, even if it's closed, we can still hit those really bad slicey shots with the driver that cause us to be 3 off the tee, and it's not going to do us any good out on the golf course. If you are someone that has been suffering with those heel strikes, just find that you swing very much so into wow, even more so than how I do it at 2-3 degrees. If you're 4-5 degrees, for example, if you know this, then I definitely recommend trying this little trick at setup and seeing the difference yourself, giving this a try. And to check this, if you haven't got access to anything like this, TrackMan.io, you can actually use something as simple as this Consistency King spray. You can actually spray this. I'm going to show you a quick little video here now. Just simply spraying your driver, hitting a few shots, and you can see where the strike location is straight away. So if you're not too sure if you're suffering with this or not, you can actually give this a try and then try and change that ball position, test this and see what you think. Make sure you drop those comments down below to let me know what you think of this and give this a try as well. So if you are going to go and give this a try, then have a look at this consistency spray down at Golf Swing Systems. I'll leave a link in the description below for that as well. You can receive 5% off these sprays to help you check where your strike location is with the driver. For those of you who are new, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and don't forget you can also check out another one of my videos over here in the top right hand corner of the screen now, which is actually going to help those golfers that don't necessarily have this into out swing path. They have more of an over the top casting movement taking place in their downswing. This is going to be looking at a few driver key downswing fundamentals for you to take on board to help you increase the distance but also the accuracy on those driver shots. So make sure you check this out. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.